by 1010XL employees, hosts and otherwise, on CW17 weeknights at 10 p.m. right before TMZ. Not sure tonight. I'm sure it's Bay and Jay. They're still together after the VMAs, from what I've seen. And you can check that out. The 1010 at 10. You get everybody from Donna, Jessica, Chad, Spencer, all pop in. I'll have it for you this Friday, the 1010 at 10 on CW17, your local sports update. Jags, JU, UNF, Armada, all kinds of things. First Coast Sports related on the CW17. It is Miller on Sports, presented by Snyder Air Conditioning on this Tuesday night, 8 to 10 p.m. Our guest and co-host, owner of the Jacksonville Armada, Mark Frisch, in studio. He's on Twitter, Mark Frisch 10. He brings the wine, he brings the fun. He's the sharpest dressed host easily in sports talk radio history, and we're glad you're making some time for us. Yeah, you laugh, but it's true.
Well, I'm just happy to compete in that contest, but thank you. And again, it's great pleasure to be here.
Okay, for those listening right now, I gave you a brief rundown of maybe the 8 questions I might ask you, and of course we'll bounce back topics back and forth. But a lot of this, you don't know what's going to happen, especially now that we've involved the wine.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen. People have been asking me, what are you going to talk about for 2 hours? I said, whatever Richard wants to talk about, I'm down for. I watch a lot of sports. I don't watch award shows. That might be a problem if we go there. But other than that, I'm game.
Rank your top 3 sports talk radio hosts in town. Off air, we'll take care of that. Mark Frisch joining us in studio. The Select Your Seat event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. How did that go? I was out there Friday afternoon.
Yeah, it went well. We got off to a great start Friday. A lot of people came down after their work week to come and check out what the field's going to look like when we play. Of course, we didn't have the sod down over the clay, but other than that, you could see where the goals are. You could go and see where your seat's going to be. So it was a process to convert people who had their reservations in to get them over now to season tickets. Now we have the manifest in the system, and you can go online and see the all the seats, the diagram, all that fun stuff, and go through and really select your season tickets now. And it was very successful. Our team worked very hard. They put in a lot of hours over the weekend, and I continue to just be amazed with our team, and I cannot commend them enough for the hours they put in, for how great they're doing and what great people they are, and that's what I hear from everybody.
Is that one of the major keys to success? Because you're a local businessman, you've got a number of things here in town. People know your name, people know your face, but we've talked about it before in Sports Talk Radio with Shad Khan and David Caldwell. Gus Bradley is for the owner or somebody. It trickles down. You've got to have the right people in place. If you notice that with the Armada, that you need the right people in place, or otherwise you're going to see some results you might not want to?
Well, I'm certainly a big believer in people and great people. So one of the great things about starting an organization from the ground up is literally handpicking your staff from zero, right? So and a good culture can get a lot done. And when you put the right people in place to build a great positive culture, you can win. And I've read a lot of those business books on that. It's one of the things I enjoy reading, and I talk to a lot of business leaders who speak a lot about culture and people and the positivity and the power of being positive and having those positive people around you. And so we have certainly, I think, found the right people right now at the Armada. Every one of them is just extremely grateful to be there, and we're grateful to have them. So it's a winning organization early on, that's for sure.
Talking to Mark Frisch right here, 1010XL 92.5 FM, owner of the Jacksonville Armada. The website, armadafc.com, to place your hold and get those season tickets for 2015. The season will kick off very, very shortly. And, of course, Twitter, you can find them at Jax Armada FC. Jax Armada FC. It is 1010XL and Miller on Sports. How many season ticket holders were out over the weekend? That 3-day period, a few hundred?
Yeah, there were a few hundred. We've converted over 50% of the reservations now to season tickets, so that was great. I mean, in 1 week we've accomplished that. Hopefully this week we're going to be making phone calls to the rest and speak to them about it. And a lot of people coming in for that charter membership, the 3-year membership, which has been great, and we deeply appreciate their support. But yeah, definitely a couple hundred over there between the long hours of Saturday and Sunday as well. We showed soccer on Saturday and Sunday, so it was fun. We had a band out there Friday, and I think everybody had a good time.
Well, I was out there for maybe 30, 35 minutes on Friday afternoon, and it was amazing because I'm walking in, shaking a few hands, looking at the pitch, looking at Everbank Field. I turn my head to talk to a few people, and then I hear a pitter-patter. I'm thinking, what's going on? It's so sunny. It's 94 degrees, and it rains for about 90 seconds and stops, and it cools down a little bit, and it's Jacksonville, Florida. But I'm sure it was nice weather over the weekend too.
Yeah, it was great weather. It was certainly hot. Saturday and Sunday were both very hot. There was a little bit of a rain on Sunday just as we were wrapping up. The other thing that we did have going on out there too was our development players who we have brought in to practice through the open tryout and the invitational tryouts, which I think you were at both of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have about 25 guys, and they got to practice on the field, which was great for our coaches to actually work with these guys on our actual field to kind of get a sense for, what the pitch looks like when you're playing soccer there. So, and I think that went over very well. So it's, again, another thing we were able to showcase out there this weekend.
Did you have some fans personally over the weekend say, hey, Mark, I love this about the baseball grounds for soccer? Were they more pro, anti? What was the feeling that you got from the personal interaction?
Yeah, everything I've heard about it has been very pro. And it's the facility that it is. It's a beautiful venue, downtown Jacksonville. It's nice that it has a concourse. So if it is a bit hot and you want to get in the shade for a few minutes, grab a drink, watch soccer standing up with a cold beverage in your hand in the shade. Mm-hmm. Even though most of our games are at night. But it can provide a shelter from a little rain also. So. Those are all positive things about it, and really the field, you completely surround the field with the stands, which is nice. So it's going to be a great atmosphere for soccer, and I've heard nothing but positive comments about it.
Have you had to brush up on your Spanish? Because I interviewed a few coaches maybe 3-4 weeks ago. My Spanish is a little rusty. UNF did me well, Bishop Kenny, same exact thing, but you go maybe 6-7 years without it. You just no hablo español.
Sí, entiendo.
Mucho.
Yo puedo hablar en español y estoy practicando con los coaches ahora. So if I need to speak Spanish, I try to practice with them, and it's good. I didn't take Spanish in college. I did a few years at the Bowles School, and spent a lot of time just speaking Spanish with some Beaver Street employees, and we have a great team there who sells into the Spanish market. So I've always tried to speak Spanish, learn Spanish, and it's good practicing with Dario and all the coaches right now.
So English, Spanish, what else? I was not expecting that. I'm sure you practice that line for a good 20 minutes before coming in studio. No? It just comes natural to Mark Frisch?
Well, no. Oh boy,
it's the line.
It might be. No, I didn't practice the line, but I've been okay. I once had to do a business presentation in Spanish, and that was quite fun. But yeah, I grew up. I learned Hebrew at a young age, so maybe that helped out. I was fluent in Hebrew at a time, and now it's really all about Spanish. I could still probably get by with Hebrew, but English, Spanish mostly.
So now I need to perfect my Spanish or bring it back somewhat, so I can talk to you in Spanish, and we can have like a secret code if there's a luncheon or something.
2 horas en español, 2 full hours in Spanish. How about that?
Of Miller on Sports?
See.
Well, let's start with the wine, go from there, and see. We still just have like 90 minutes left.
Okay.
So we'll maybe next month.
Okay.
I still need a little time. Mark Frisch joining us in studio here, 1010XL 92.5 FM. Always presented by Snyder Air Conditioning. Check out their number and their website, 6410600, SnyderAC.com. Fill me in with the developmental squad. I was unable to be out there Saturday and Sunday. Some of the players, some of the names. I know a sprinkling of UNF, JU. You try and get that local, but from what you saw from the developmental squad and from what the coaches said, what did you see in those couple days?
Yeah, we've always been optimistic on the talent pool here in this market. Like you said, between some of the guys who've played college soccer here and currently on the NPSL team with Jacks United, there's some talented players. So we have quite a few of those people on that 25-man squad, if you will. A few people from other cities still coming up or coming down. But the coaches have been pleased with what they've seen. They continue to be impressed. We continue to say we're going to get somewhere between 5 to 7, 5 to 8 people off this squad signed to a contract with the Armada. So that is the goal. It's not an unrealistic goal, and it's not just to do it to say we do it. These people can play, so we're very excited with the talent out there.
If there could be a Hard Knocks, which I've seen every episode, but it's just kind of it's going to get the TV ratings no matter what. HBO Go, I kind of save it for a boring or maybe a rainy afternoon, or maybe just a hot afternoon when I don't want to go outside. Hard Knocks for the Jacksonville Armada. Would there be storylines? I know it's still early, but I asked Kerwin Bell this question last week, and I think it's just a fun little interaction question. What do you think Hard Knocks would be like around the Armada?
I think, and I've never watched the show, so
never.
So let me try to imagine what it is, and then see how it would be for us. No, I think right now you'd see a lot of guys coming together, really, really impressed with the way that practices are being run, the amount of the attention they're getting. I've heard from quite a few people how impressed they are and how much time they're getting from these coaches, from the general manager, from all the staff, frankly, and that it's not just you're out there, we're not looking at you, or it's just kind of an exercise, if you will. So I think you would see a good insight to that culture on the field, and the love our coaches have for the game and wanting to get better and wanting to teach these kids to get these kids better as well. So that's certainly something early that has stood out to me.
Now, how's your shoulder? Is your shoulder better?
It is better. Thank you for asking.
Of course.
But, I had to stay off the golf course for a few months. I think that helped prepare things, and now I have to battle with my left knee. So it's always something.
What's the left knee?
I've always had a little bit of a knee twinge. And then the 4th of July, I had a jet ski incident, and I think it kind of aggravated it a bit more.
What, backflip on the jet ski? What were you trying to do?
It was more like a side flip. I went over a wave too fast. I forgot how old I was. And when I landed, the impact just did not agree with my body holding onto that jet ski. So I kind of went for a jump there, and it was a nice dip in the St. Johns River on a hot 4th of July afternoon. And my knee's been a little hurt since then, but might go see Dr. Kaplan a little bit, and everything will be fine.
Okay. I hope it's all right. Was there a GoPro attached to you or the jet ski?
I wish there was. I really do. On the there was a sailboat going by right when it happened. I was like, hey, did y'all catch that? But no such luck.
The millions of views on YouTube that could have been. Mark Frisch joining us, owner of the Jacksonville Armada, 1010XL 92.5 FM. Any word on the practice spot? I know y'all have been working a few different options. Jacksonville University was one of those names. Since the invitational tryouts were there, any progress on a practice facility for the Armada?
There's some progress, but nothing ready to announce just yet. Still working through a few things, just as we were throughout the stadium selection process. But we're getting close, and we're at a time where we're 4 months away from having a full team here. So we're getting really close to making that happen and being comfortable with that selection. Has
the kit selection been made? Is it going to be a Nike kit?
The kit selection has been made. We're going to be revealing the kit sometime in the fall.
So 3-4 weeks? Just so I can plan my calendar.
I would say probably more in October than September.
Okay. New Era hats? Are those on the way?
Well, we're in discussion with New Era. We're trying to. We've talked with a few hat suppliers. So we'll see. I mean, I'm a fan of New Era. I'm a fan of dome hats here local. So we're just gonna see what is gonna work best for us. But soon we'll have a hat for you too.
Going for me.
For you.
Okay.
For you, not
like
the second person you. For you, Richard Miller.
Well,
and for the second person you.
But okay. I like that. I like that. Good stuff. But the studio's packed. We've got a lot of people in here. So I'm looking at the wine. I'm looking at Twitter. A lot's happening. There's tennis on. Roger Federer's playing behind you.
Oh, by the way, did
Yes.
you see those Jordan Federer tennis shoes coming out?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a picture of those on the drive over here. I was at a red light, and my goodness, those things look good. Those things look good. I used to play a lot of tennis, and when I saw that tennis shoe, I might have to get back into tennis.
I would like to play.
Are you a tennis player?
I've been known to
What kind of
charge the net.
racket? What kind of racket?
A Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
you're
it's
a true Federer boy, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe the 06 Federer or something like that. I played with the Rock for a while.
Okay, very good. Last time I played, I was playing with a head racket. I don't know how they are anymore, but I'd give head another go at it just because it was so great for me back in the day when I used to go out there with a few 60-year-old guys and really play good.
I see how it is. Maybe Southside Tennis Complex when they'll. I think they'll be done maybe in a month of redoing their courts.
Oh, I didn't even know they were redoing their courts.
Yeah, I was over there. I was over in San Marco. I saw you had the same issue. I was stopped by the train twice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that day I did not, but I was reading a few tweets all at once, and it's so funny. I love Twitter. This is why I love Twitter. I mean, all at once, it was like a collective groan via Twitter. Oh, my God, the San Marco train is here. I responded to one guy, and I said, hey, just be thankful you're not at this train right now with your wife in labor with twins, because that's what happened to us.
Really?
We were driving to Baptist Hospital. We did not know she was in labor at the time, but, Murphy's Law, and sure enough, ding, 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 down comes the little red and white striped thing of joy. And so we sat there, and it's one of the slow trains. It's one of those trains that stretches from here to Georgia. And thank God we got in the room okay. But it was, a lot of sweat in the car.
Whew. Man, was not expecting that tonight. Mark Frisch in studio, owner of the Jacksonville Armada, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. Find Mark on Twitter, Mark Frisch 1010, Mark Frisch 10. Of course, Facebook and Twitter for the Jacksonville Armada. On Twitter, Jax Armada FC. The website, armadafc.com. We'll talk more about the Armada, more about Jacksonville, a variety of questions. I went to People Magazine for some inspiration. So we'll talk to Mark, our co-host, on this Tuesday evening. And don't forget, in hour number 2, Joshua Wilson of Florida HS Football at 9:15. At 9:35, Russ Mitchell, lead SEC columnist for college football news. So we've got a lot going on, more Jaguars talk, of course, and we can take your phone calls as well at 641-1010, 641-1010, soccer and much more. Mark and Miller in studio. It is 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Miller on Sports. Find us Facebook and Twitter. Of course, Miller on Sports Tuesday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. Both 1010XL 92.5 FM. Do want to make a note because I saw this the other day with Brent Martineau, Dan Hicken, and this Friday, 8 p.m. on CBS 47. I'm just a fan of sports, especially locally, action sports, with the special on the Jacksonville Jaguars. In 20 years, set your DVR. Brent, Dan, Stu, also Drew, a must-watch this Friday, 8 p.m. I think it's the best TV sports group in town. So check that out, 8 p.m., CBS 47 this Friday, action sports with a special on the Jaguars in 20 years. So give that a check this Friday, or make sure you DVR it. Also, I Know Jags Saturdays and Sundays, 9:30 p.m. I've been contributing recently with I Know Jags, just kind of catching up with players, locker room interviews, on-field reports, and definitely more of the human element, so you can give that a look as well. Saturdays and Sundays, 9:30 p.m. It is I Know Jax. Also, Mark Frisch in studio, still with us, amazingly enough. He has decided to stay and not leave. I appreciate that.
What happens at 10 o'clock? Because I'm going to stay in here at 10 also.
I really don't know. I'm out of here like 9:58, so I don't know what happens at 10 p.m.
I'm going to see.
Yeah, it could be interesting. You might have to close like the last 6 minutes of the show.
Okay.
So if you want to come up with something interesting, maybe a little rant, kind of like what I opened the show up with.
Oh, boy.
Do you want to work on that?
A closing rant.
Do you want a closing rant?
I don't know. Let me think about this.
Well, we'll think about it. Dwell and sip the wine. Is sip the proper verb for the wine?
Whatever you like.
Okay. Give us a little description of this wine that we're consuming.
I like wine. I love wine, but I'm not one to. Oh, I detect a hint of blackberry and tobacco with a little bit of cinnamon. Yeah, I've never been good at that. I just drink it. I love it. But,
that's all I needed.
That's all I need. I don't get too much past that point.
Is this everything that you expected tonight?
And
as a co-host?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This has met all expectations. It's starting to pass expectations, and it's getting better by the minute. So. Again, it's I don't want this day to end.
This just in, you're invited back.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, in unrelated news,
Okay.
Mark Frisch, find him on Twitter, MarkFrisch10, the website armadafc.com, and he's in studio with us on this Tuesday evening. We'll also take some of your phone calls at 641-1010, 641-10. Over, under, what did we say? It was like 2.5?
I think you said 3 would be good, so let's set it at 2.5.
2.5. That sounds fair. Are you in any fantasy football leagues?
I am. We have our draft Thursday night after the Jaguars game. We always like to wait for the 4 preseason games because we started early. In the early years, we started it with Midway, and then you draft Sam Bradford, right? And he's gone, unfortunately. So we just moved it back. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I have the 7th pick overall.
How many teams? 10?
12.
12?
We're in a 12-person league. Yep.
Yeah, I've slowed down a little bit on the fantasy football. Last year I was in 6 pros and then 1 college and just 7 total. I mean, at that point you're owning the entire National Football League, so it's just kind of difficult.
Was that a slowdown, or now you're slowed down?
Now I've slowed down.
Okay.
Yeah. Now I think I've got a draft next Tuesday and then maybe one other. So it went from 7 to 2.
Yeah, I had a couple teams a few years ago, and even when I had 2 teams, I found myself, just owning a bunch of the same guys or different, a lot of players in total, obviously, and you feel like, well, whether I win this game in this league or lose this, I feel like I'm going against my players in the one league, and I have it, so it just gets confusing. And last year, I just had the one team, and it became, at this point, I do a draft, and I really don't do anything with free agency. I just let it roll.
You put the feet up and you feel confident?
I don't feel confident. I just
put the feet up.
I just put the feet up, and that's all I'm going to give it. I got into fantasy golf this year. That was my first attempt at that. That's been okay. But there's weeks that Thursday comes, I haven't even put my lineup in, and I'm starting a guy who's not even entered in the tournament. So it's tough, Richard. It's tough, I tell you. So.
That's what happens when you put your feet up. This is the end product.
Yeah, that's right.
Just give me a buzz. I'm just a text away.
Well, I have the 7th pick overall. I can, I'll shoot you a text with the first 6 picks because that first pick is crucial. Kind of sets the tone.
It does.
If you go quarterback, then what am I going to do? Am I going to get the running back next? Am I going to get the good receiver next? Well, now I'm not going to get a decent running back until the 3rd round, and who's left in the 3rd round? And this is what I'm thinking about at 9:30 at night, and then the baby starts crying, and then I'm definitely all in a tizzy, and I end up taking a kicker in the 5th round because I don't know what to do, So it just gets very complicated. And anyways, I appreciate it, and I will drop you a line.
Yeah. Anytime. Next tryout for the Armada, is that set going to be this weekend or next?
Tryout or just practice?
Just a tryout.
Tryout, I think we're talking about a September tryout right now. We were looking at about the 2nd weekend of September. I don't know if that's confirmed just yet, but we're shooting for the 2nd weekend of September.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let me know. You know I'll be out there.
Of course. Yes, sir. Appreciate
so
it.
What is it going to be now? You've got soccer on the weekends. You have college football on the weekends.
Yeah.
You're a busy man. You're all up in a tizzy on Thursday at 9:30 p.m. selecting your team.
Normally I'm asleep then.
But what about? Realize. I know. I know you're usually 8:45.
Yeah.
Is that bedtime?
Yeah, but just about.
Goodness, that's early.
But not on Tuesdays.
Not on. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Again, you're welcome back.
Yes.
Anytime. Mark Frisch in studio, joining us on Twitter. Mark Frisch 10. What happens now Saturday? You're watching soccer, college football, all of it.
All of it. I mean, the good thing about this time zone and their time zone with English Premier League or Spanish League, whatever, you get a lot of early games, especially with English Premier League. So you wake up, you watch a match at 8 o'clock. You watch a match at 10 o'clock, however the times work out, and then game day is on, college game day. If there's a great game on, great, I'm watching that 12 o'clock college football game. If there's not, I'm probably going over to BN Sport by then and watching Serie A or maybe La Liga. Just depends on what the best soccer match is of the day. Then you get into CBS 3:30 college football, and I'm all about that. That's typically a great SEC matchup, right? Mm-hmm. So that'll get me to dinner time. Then Pizza Hut rings the doorbell, and I get my, extra large pizza with cheese all over the place, and the Saturday night football game rolls into town. So it's just a I love the fall. It's just great.
Me too. Did you notice it this morning? There was a little crisp in the air.
It was, and it better not have been a tease of a crisp, because I feel that first crisp, and I get attached to that crisp. I don't want it to leave, and so in 3 days, if that crisp isn't there, I'm going to be upset.
Well, we've got our first phone caller of the evening, Jacob, joining us, 641-1010, 641-1010. Jacob, welcome. Mark and Miller, how you doing tonight? Excellent. Do you have a question for Mark?
That is a loaded question. It gets a lot of talk, but the good thing is, in my mind, is the fact that there is a conversation around it. I think there's a lot of work to be done. Of course, MLS came out a few weeks ago and said they will never have promotion and relegation within Major League Soccer, which I don't quite know what that means anyway. But what we need to what we would like to see, and our commissioner has been outspoken about it, is promotion and relegation in this country. But our league, we have some work to do. We have some work to do on the field. We have some work to do off the field. We have to, work on the venues that we're playing in and that kind of stuff. But our league is heading in that direction. So 5, 10, 15 years, I don't know. It's kind of a thing that we can't really control. We talk with U.S. Soccer about it, but we do know we have some work to do, and I would love to see it. I think a lot of the fans would love to see it. How about you? No, I don't think so. I think again, it's just about, like, right now there's a lot of difference between what's going on in Major League Soccer, what's going on in North American Soccer League, what's going on in United Soccer Leagues, the USL. So, as those differences become smaller, and again, we're only in our 4th year right now. MLS is in their 19th year, so we have some catching up to do. But that's, I think, the biggest thing that stands in the way versus the distance and travel expense. Yeah, I agree. Richard, what do you think?
I think downtown.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Anything else, Bill? Are you all set? All right. Thank you. You have a good evening. 641-1010, 641-1010. Does Shad Khan or Mark Lamping, do they reach out to you asking your thoughts on the shipyards?
No, when we first were awarded the team last year, I was speaking with them about soccer in general and their plans with practice fields and would it make sense to, collaborate on something. And they've been open and having discussions with me. But then Shad purchased Fulham right after that, so they've had their hands full with Fulham, and of course they have a lot going on here in Jacksonville with the Jaguars, and of course their own shipyard development and those plans. So we continue to talk about it, but we'll see what comes of that.
All right. I like it. Mark Frisch, in studio, owner of the Jacksonville Armada. Check them out on Twitter, Jax Armada FC. Also, Mark's on Twitter, Mark Frisch 10. The website, armadafc.com. Soccer and so much more. We'll take more of your phone calls as well. Joshua Wilson at 9:15, high school football around the state of Florida. 9:35, we'll talk to Russ Mitchell's SEC. So it'll be Florida Gators and a lot more, LSU, Alabama, all kinds of things. And Mark Frisch, co-host tonight of Miller on Sports. Always presented by Snyder Air Conditioning, SnyderAC.com, and like their Facebook page. We'll take a timeout. Come on back. It is 1010XL and Miller on Sports. Having fun as always, but now there are people in studio. I have friends joining me. 1010XL 92.5 FM. Usually I'm just lonely, and if the bottle of wine is in here and it's just me, it's kind of weird. But if there are a few people and Mark Frisch in studio, the bottle of wine and a couple of glasses seem, I guess, more normal than anything. Jackstoberfest 2014. You can check it out, jackstoberfest.com, for tickets and all of that. Facebook and their website, jackstoberfest.com. October 10th and 11th. It'll be here before you know it, just a few short months away. Networking functions, 5K beer run, private parties, good food, good music, and fun on the weekend. It's Jackstoberfest 2014. Mark Frisch in studio, Miller on Sports. Find us Facebook and Twitter for Miller on Sports. We're at 2. We need the over of 2.5. So somebody you can call on it. 641-1010, 641-1010, and join us, whether it's soccer talk, whether it's Jaguars, anything else related here on the First Coast. We are more than open to it. It's 641-1010, 641-1010. Have you tried this Jack's Foot Golf?
I haven't yet. I've heard some great things about it. They've done a nice job. I think we've had a few people from our Armada team go over there and check it out, and I'm intrigued by it. I'd like to go see how they convert that golf course into this foot golf course. I think it's pretty cool. A lot of people have liked Frisbee golf back in the day. It'd be cool to go check this out, too.
Are you a Frisbee golfer?
I never have done the Frisbee golf. I played a bit of ultimate Frisbee, though. I used to enjoy doing that on a nice Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, back when I liked to run for no reason. But those days are gone.
Your Saturdays are busier, AC and football and soccer.
AC, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, if I get a foursome together, are you in?
I'm in.
For Jack's foot golf?
I'm in. I'll wear a couple of pairs of socks to protect my toes, because I do toe the ball. I tell you, I kicked a few soccer balls out there during the tryouts and what have you.
More what have you, right?
Probably. You're right. But thanks for pointing that out.
Of course, anytime.
Yes.
That's why I'm here. You need a host-co-host dynamic, and I think we have it.
Yeah, it's okay. The feet, you just know you're kicking. You don't know what you're doing when you're done after kicking a few soccer balls. Your feet hurt. It shouldn't be that way. I've just always been a tower. I used to toe field goals in PE. I used to want to kick extra points like it was my job. I would just toe it, split the uprights, no problem. But it doesn't work on a heavy inflated soccer ball. Quite painful.
This sounds to me like you want to create, or maybe you've even created an excuse to get pedicures. Am I reading too much into this?
I've had one pedicure in my life.
I as well.
I just don't want to torture those sweet people working on people's feet. I mean, they do not deserve working on my feet and seeing my toes. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the manicure before the wedding. I'm not doing that again. My fingernails are okay. I don't like the massage. I don't like the manicure. I do enjoy a nice shave with a straight razor. That's my kind of relaxation these days.
See, I enjoy that, but my skin is too soft to where they nick me up down below.
You just tell them you have soft skin.
I'm tough enough
They'll
already,
put some
Mark.
extra oil on you, okay? We'll smooth that thing out for you. They'll shave it nice and smooth.
Okay, 641-1010, 641-1010. To join us, talk soccer and much more, Scott Irvine, our producer, will pick up the phone call, 641-1010. 641-1010, you can join us and have a little fun on this Tuesday evening. Miller on Sports from 8 until 10 p.m. We'll talk just about anything on this Tuesday evening. Have you seen the Jacksonville landing renditions? Have you seen those?
Yeah.
I believe they're wanting $12 million in public funding.
Yep, I have seen the renderings. Quite nice.
Would you help out with the funding at all?
Yeah, as a taxpayer, I'd love to help out. Absolutely. I think, again, it's vital for something to go on here downtown. There's been a lot of talk of downtown revitalization through the years. And it's time to see some action, and the landing has been one of those first places you see when you go downtown. It could be so much more. I think a lot of people realize that. Hopefully it can become much more than it is today. But we'll see. I would certainly be a supporter of that.
Talking Armada and much more. ArmadaFC.com is a website. On Twitter, Jack's Armada FC. You can find them. The phone calls continue to roll on in, I guess surprisingly enough. Josh joining us, 641-1010. Josh, how you doing tonight? You have a question for Mark?
Yeah, Josh. It's going to be kind of a blend. Of course, we're gonna have some great talent from the Jacksonville market on the squad, and then we're going to look at the rest of our domestic players who are currently playing in Major League Soccer, North American Soccer League, our league, and the USL, and see what's out there, and that's ongoing right now. So you're going to have current professional athletes playing in all three of those leagues, and then we have in our league 7 spots for international players. Which we will fill to capacity, and I would bet it would be a heavy dose of Argentinian players if I was a betting guy. And those you're going to have guys playing second, third division Argentinian pro soccer. You might have a guy playing in first division Argentinian pro soccer, or somebody playing in Italy or whatever. So it's a good opportunity because a lot of these guys want to come over to the United States. A lot of guys want to come over to Florida, so we're fortunate to be where we are. But we're going to get a wide range of talent, and starting with perhaps a guy who was in the World Cup, or perhaps a guy playing in a Premier League around the world right now.
Is that good, Josh? All right. Thank you for the phone call.
Yep,
we'll
thanks,
talk to you soon. Josh, let's move on. Again, 641-1010, 641-1010 is the number. Let's go on to Chris joining us here on 1010XL. Chris, how you doing? You got a question for Mark. Thank you, Chris, for the phone call. I think you maybe want to talk to Frank Frangie tomorrow afternoon. Mark, any comments?
Well, I will say college football is certainly an interesting sport right now, and it's like so much is based on preseason polls and where you started the year and how good you can be in many cases. But you know, I would agree, and I went to Florida, so I'm not an SEC homer by any stretch of the imagination, but it does seem like it is not the most fair situation right now, and it doesn't really provide a chance for truly every team to win a national championship at the FBS level. And it's one of the reasons why I've come to like the FCS and the what JU plays in, the former Division I AA. Mm-hmm. You win your conference, you make the playoffs. They have a couple of open spots as well, and then it's a playoff. And so obviously playoffs can be done in college football at a certain level. But when it comes to the FBS and lots of dollars and lots of conferences, lots of bowl games, it becomes complicated. I can appreciate that, but those would be my comments.
So you were glued to the Eastern Michigan or Eastern Washington game.
Washington, yeah, I watched that opener. They look good, I tell you what. And granted, it was the first game of the year. They played a good Sam Houston State team on the red turf. You know, it's always tough to come out and play a good team, even though it's home. There's no preseason, obviously, in college football, so to come out and they put on a good offensive show. They had some few defensive stops when they needed them and got off to a good start.
Mark Frisch in studio on Twitter, MarkFrisch10, and also ArmadaFC.com is the website for season tickets in 2015. The season will be here before you know it. Let's move along with our phone callers, 641-1010. Tony joins us. Tony, do you have a question for Mark?
Yeah, you know, first of all, I hope all of these sections sell out, and if things go according to plan, they will. But you know, it seems it is interesting to see what's filling up before others. I think more people naturally will gravitate towards the sideline view versus the goal line view. But you know, time will tell. And I will say this though: no matter what, the only thing that makes a soccer game even better is leaving that, going to Burrito Gallery, and getting a nice burrito. I don't know if you've ever done that or been there before by chance, but if you haven't, you should really check that out because that just enhances the experience after a match. Yeah, thanks, Eric, for the call, and it is my pleasure to bring the beautiful game to Jacksonville, and really I've done it just because of the city of Jacksonville and the people that live here and the passion for the sport that resides here. But, you know, someone else had asked that earlier, and I think there is a path to get there. It's not a path that I personally or the Armada personally could go down and you know, achieve relegation here in this country, but it's something that our league as a whole will have to get better, and then perhaps through time we will be able to bring up a good conversation and a fight for relegation in the country. But until then, we will continue to compete on the field. I think the parity on the field does exist right now, and there was examples of that throughout the Open Cup this year. A lot of NASL clubs beat MLS teams. Some USL teams beat NASL teams, I think. So they're on the field. I think right now it's pretty close, but we have to get better off the field.
Mark Frisch joining us in studio, talking Armada and much, much more. Your phone calls. Thank you again, Eric, for that phone call. We'll move to a good friend of the program. He's filled in a number of times, and he's one of a few people that joins us in studio as well. The one and only Wally, MC of the Jacksonville Sharks. What's going on, Wally?
Yeah, I think
you're getting the college football questions tonight.
I happened to go to when I went to Georgia Southern a couple years ago. JU opened up the season up there.
That was rough.
And
that was so rough.
It was beyond rough. And I tell you, talk about a great fan base and talk about a great environment. Georgia Southern has it. And at the time, they were first starting to politic, going to FBS and wanting all the fans to get behind it to push the school to go to FBS, and I think they belong there. Obviously, they can compete. Like you said, they beat Florida. They've played some close games with some other great teams. But when it comes to scheduling, I think for many cases, it's like a no-win situation for those bigger schools, if you will. It's become a money game from the smaller schools like a Georgia Southern or like a Bethune-Cookman or somebody else playing up to a Division 1A school. Mm-hmm. They're not supposed to compete, so if they get blown out, okay, great. They were supposed to get blown out, and God forbid they win. It's the talk of all season, like Georgia Southern beating Florida last year. So I think it's become tougher for those schools to schedule them. That's just my amateur take on that. But we'll see. I'd like to see Georgia Southern play against those teams and compete against them for sure.
All right, we're up against a break, but we're going to shatter the clock because that's what we do on Miller on Sports. 5 good questions for Mark real quick. First off, neatest sports event that you've attended?
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, which one?
When the Giants beat the Patriots were on their way to going 18-0. And Tyree and his chewing gum on his helmet.
I vaguely remember it.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
Yep.
Movie you saw last in theaters?
That's tough, man. It's been a long time for me. I'm going to go with the Care Bears.
Okay. Unexpected. Favorite sweet or candy bar if you're going to the movie?
Oh, Skittles.
Skittles. Okay. All right. Interesting. Sports idol growing up?
Michael Jordan.
Oh, of course. Do you own a boat?
No, thank God.
Oh. All right, so we got to go on Alan Verlander's boat.
We can do that.
Okay, maybe a Saturday afternoon?
Yeah.
All right, Mark Frisch joining us, owner of the Jacksonville Armada. Jackson Armada FC on Twitter. ArmadaFC.com is the website for your 2015 season tickets. We'll take a timeout. Come on back with Joshua Wilson of Florida HS Football. Talk high school football in the state of Florida. Mark Frisch, my co-host tonight. We've got wine, we've got sports talk, we've got fun, 1010XL, and 92.5 FM. Good stuff.